Good morning, everybody. Since I had a little time this morning, I wanted to get on here and share a little bit of an experience of mine recently. As many of you know, I've had a triple cervical fusion. Just so you know, I'm not an actress. There you go. So I have high degeneration in my body as I get older. Obviously, my neck. I have arthritis in my lower back, in my joints, carpal tunnel in my hands. Basically, at this point, I've lost cartilage in my toes, and I'm going in for surgery for that, for reconstruction. So, overall, just to show you that the degeneration in my structure is elevated. Because of that, I do suffer with a lot of pain and discomfort. So, which led me to doing the cervical, the 3-level cervical fusion in my upper neck spine. So, because of that, the high degeneration, I also have the possibility of having to damage and possibly do further fusion for the upper and the lower vertebrae, aside from the ones that I already have done, possibly have to do in the future. So I do still suffer some discomfort and pain from time to time. It varies between a variety of things that can cause it. A lot of it has to do, obviously, with stress, which causes inflammation all over your body, and therefore inflammation with your joints and etc. So, and then having to sit on a computer all day, working a full-time job, with having my neck obviously strained, my jawline, because I from stress I constrict my jaw. So it all escalates and it all runs up and down with my shoulders, my neck. But that's most of my problem. So to give you a little bit of a history, I used to get very bad headaches. I used to call them headaches because obviously they would generate all over here. But I knew they were coming from my neck. It was all over here in the back, from my jawline, and it would just resonate everywhere. And the headaches would get so bad that I couldn't function. At one point, I remember the memory that really sticks out most is my father was visiting, and I just this headache just escalated to a breaking point where these headaches usually take about 3 days of buildup, where they just get to a point where it completely cripples me. And my dad was visiting, and he couldn't figure out, he was getting upset why I wouldn't come out of my bedroom to even say hello. And I was so crippled that I couldn't get out of bed. I just lay there whimpering in tears from the pain. I started, I took 3 or 4 Advil, if I remember, that did not touch the pain at all. I followed it with Tylenol. They say to piggyback sometimes did not help at all. And at some point, obviously, because I had the surgery, so I had some, heavy duty medication, which I try not to take post-surgery. Sometimes you kind of have no choice, but I had some in the house since I did have the prescription. So I take 1 or 2, and then I kind of deal with the pain because I hate any kind of narcotic medication. So it got to a point where it was so bad that I did take an oxycodone, and it did not even touch the pain. It was just unbearable, to the point where my husband had to carry me to the car and take me to the hospital. I went to the hospital, and they could not pinpoint the pain. They did MRIs, they did CAT scans. I think one of the Driscoll boys actually did my my CAT scan that day, and they tried to do a spinal tap, thinking that it was something a lot worse and severe, and I refused it because I knew where the pain was coming from, and nothing they were able to give me was helping me at the time. So I had to kind of sleep through it or cry through it while I was at the hospital, and then ended up going home with no relief. I just kind of had to live through it. So that kind of suffering persists for quite some time. Like I said, it's a good 3-day build up till it escalates to that level, and then having to push through till it subsides. And I guess the only thing that would help to subside was just complete relaxation, and to be able to alleviate the inflammation which comes from strain, then which increases swelling on the joints and the vertebrae, and then the herniations and everything gets compressed. So that takes a lot of time, you know, hot, cold compresses, anything that I could think of, massage, anything to try to alleviate it. And it does take quite a bit of time to subside to a point where I'm able to function. So going forward, I had one of these headaches this past weekend, and they come thankfully very infrequently, maybe once or twice a year. But when they do happen, they're pretty bad. So I had one this past weekend. I did clench my jaw when I was sleeping. There was a lot of stress. So I felt it all back here, and I felt it build up for a good 3 days. And come Saturday, it came to a head. And I woke up most of the night. I was in tears, crying from pain. I didn't want to wake up my husband because I feel bad, but so I woke up in the morning. My face was swollen, and I was basically not able to function. Thankfully, we have no more oxycodone in our house, so I did try to take some Advil again. I go through the steps, and they did absolutely nothing. And since I'm set up for surgery, actually I wasn't even supposed to do that. Thankfully, my surgery is postponed for a week. But I was afraid to take anything. And what happened was I had to stop taking all my supplements, my Viseo supplements, preparing for the surgery, even though I don't believe that I should, because they're food and plant-based. So if I can eat, I should be able to take my supplements. But the hospital was very insistent that I stop everything, holistic or otherwise, because they're not very educated on holistic aspects. But anyway, so I had to stop taking everything, and at this point I think I was about 2 days without taking any of my supplements, including my CBD. So, which at this point I take once a day, and has gotten me off of my anxiety medication. So, being at a point of such pain, out of desperation, I took my CBD, and I kid you not, try to keep my composure. Within the hour, my headache was gone. My pain was gone. Within the hour, I was literally back to normal. It is the most unbelievable thing I've experienced. I mean, aside from everything else that I've been talking about, how our amazing products have helped me, helped my whole family, to experience this was beyond anything. I literally took 2 half droppers, just one full dropper, and within the hour, all the inflammation, all the strain, all the pain that basically cripples me during the time of these headaches were gone. I can't say enough about it. The fact of how quickly it worked has a lot to do with the absorption process that we have, which is liposomal. And if anybody has any questions about it, you can either Google it or I'll be more happy to tell you about it. But I did not get any kind of psychoactive element. I was not high. I was not dopey. I was not, droopy, whatever. I was back to normal. I was a human being. I was able to get up, get dressed, start my day, take care of my child, take care of what I needed to do without any restraint and without any pain. So if anybody has any suffering with pain, inflammation, anxiety, whatever, please find out and look into this, because having to be subjected and live on narcotic medication is not something I would advise anybody to do. It's something I'm completely opposed to. I've seen what it did to my husband. He's been suffering for many years, and he's now off of everything. But that's another story that I'll tell you one day. I just wanted to come on here and share my most recent experience, and what this little bottle has done for me. So yeah, I hope everybody has a great day and happy, healthy, pain-free day. I hope everybody enjoys the wonderful sun outside. Talk soon.